A substitute teacher from out in Long Island was dropped from his job for fighting with a student. He returned to the classroom a few weeks later, shot the student unsuccessfully, held the classroom hostage, then shot himself successfully. This fact caught my eye. Last sentence. Times. A neighbor described him as a nice boy, always reading Catcher in the Rye. The nitwit Chapman, who shot John Lennon, said he did it because he wanted to draw attention to The Catcher in the Rye, and that the reading of this book would be his defense. And young Hinckley, the whiz kid who shot Reagan and his press secretary, said, if you want my defense, all you have to do is read Catcher in the Rye. It seemed to be the time to read it again. I borrowed the book from a friend of mine because I wanted to see what she had underlined, and to read how this touching, beautiful, sensitive story published in July 1951 had turned into a manifesto of hate. I started reading. It's exactly as I remembered. Everybody's a phony. Page 2, my brother's in Hollywood being a prostitute. Page 3, what a phony his father was. Page 9, people never notice anything. Then on page 22, my hair stood up. Remember Holden Caulfield, the definitive, sensitive youth, wearing his red hunter's cap? A deer hunter's hat? Like hell it is. I sort of closed one eye like I was taking aim at it. This is a people shooting hat. I shoot people in this hat. I said. This book is preparing people for bigger things in their lives than I ever dreamed of. Then on page 89, I'd rather push a guy out of a window or chop his head off with an axe than sock him in the jaw. I hate fist fights. What scares me the most is the other guy's face. I finished the book. It's a touching story, comic, because the boy wants to do so much, but can't do anything. Hates all phoniness, and only lies to others. Wants everyone to like him, is only hateful, and is completely self-involved. In other words, a pretty accurate picture of the male adolescent. What alarms me about the book isn't so much the book, but the aura around it is this. It's primarily about paralysis. The boy can't function. And at the end, before the boy can run away and start a new life, it begins to rain, and he folds. No, there's nothing wrong with writing about emotional and intellectual paralysis. It may indeed, thanks to Chekhov and Samuel Bennett, be the great modern theme. The extraordinary last lines of Waiting for Godot. Let's go. Yes, let's go. Stage directions. Do not move. But the aura around this book of Salinger's, which perhaps should be read by everyone but young men, is this. It mirrors like a funhouse mirror and amplifies like a distorted speaker. One of the great tragedies of our time, the death of the imagination, because what else is paralysis? The imagination has been so debased that imagination, being imaginative, rather than being the linchpin in our existence, now stands as a synonym for something outside ourselves, like science fiction or some new use for tangerine slices on raw pork chops. What an imaginative summer recipe. And Star Wars, so imaginative. And Star Trek, so imaginative. And Lord of the Rings, all those dwarves, so imaginative. The imagination has moved out of the realm of being our link. I mean, our most personal link with our inner lives. And the world outside that world. This world we share. What is schizophrenia but a horrifying state where what's in here doesn't match up with what's out there? I believe the imagination is the passport we create to help take us into the real world. I believe the imagination is merely another phrase for what is most uniquely us. Jung says the greatest sin is to be unconscious. Now our boy Holden says What scares me the most is the other guy's face. It wouldn't be so bad if you both could be blindfolded. Sometimes the faces that we face aren't the other guys, but our own faces. And it is the worst kind of yellowness to be so scared of yourself that you would put blindfolds on rather than deal with yourself. To face ourselves, that's the hard thing. The imagination, that's God's gift. To make the act of self-examination bearable. Thanks for watching.